Hello everyone, hope you are all fine. We are discussing about the preparatory methods of aldehydes and ketones. Last time we discussed first three methods. First one was the preparation of aldehydes and ketones from alcohol. The second one was Friedel-Crafts acylation method, and the third one was the method where we took the reduction of acid chloride in presence of a catalyst like palladium supported over barium sulfate, partially poisoned by a substance like sulfur in presence of a solvent like xylene. And that third method was called as Rosenmund reduction. Now acid chlorides can also be reduced to aldehydes in presence of a well-known reducing agent, that is tributyl tinhydride. What is it? Tributyl tinhydride. This is a good reducing agent. So it is having a tendency to reduce carbonyl group to CHO group, this CO group to CHO group. Now another method to prepare aldehydes and ketones is that the number fourth method, and this is the preparation from nitriles. Nitriles are the compounds containing CN group in them, cyano group in them. Okay, so how we can prepare aldehydes and ketones using nitrile? So by means of Grignard's reagent, and Grignard's reagent is simply represented as RMgX. So alkyl magnesium halide, where R can be either alkyl or aryl group, and X may be any halogen. Okay, so both aliphatic and aromatic ketones can be prepared by the action of suitable Grignard reagent on an alkyl or aryl nitrile. So nitrile used may also be alkyl as well as aryl in presence of dry ether used as solvent. And of course the second step in Grignard's reaction is the acid hydrolysis. Thereafter we get the final product. So here are the examples. The very first example is that of ethyl magnesium bromide. This is a Grignard's reagent. Now see here, due to electronegativity difference between this metal magnesium and carbon, carbon is more electronegative and hence it acquires partial negative charge, and as a result of which partial positive charge will be developed on the electropositive metal, that is magnesium. So negative charge of it will then go over here, this partial positively charged of this nitrile, because nitrogen being more electronegative acquires negative charge, and as a result of which carbon here will acquire positive charge. So this negative part of Grignard's reagent get attached to this partial positively charged carbon. So as a result of this attack of this ethyl group of alkyl magnesium halide over here, we get this addition product, which upon acid hydrolysis gives the final product. Okay, here butanone is formed, which is a ketone with a release of one molecule of ammonia and magnesium hydroxybromide. Okay, another example. Here now we have taken R as C2H5 or CH3CH2, that is ethyl group here in case of nitrile, and this is now propane nitrile, because overall the total number of carbon here are 3. So this is propane nitrile. This upon treatment with phenyl magnesium bromide. Now here in this case, in case of this Grignard's reagent, R here now is C6H5 group, that is phenyl or allyl group, and halogen or X here is bromine. So this is phenyl magnesium bromide. So this also form this addition product or adduct, and which upon acid hydrolysis gives 1-phenyl propanone as shown here, with a release of again one molecule of ammonia and magnesium hydroxybromide. So we have got ketone. so far in this by this method involving the treatment of nitrile with Grignard reagent. We can also get aldehyde if we use hydrocyanic acid. Okay, as shown here. Now this is HCN, hydrocyanic acid. We make it to react with phenyl magnesium iodide in presence of dry ether, and we get this addition product. Obviously, because this negative part of this alkyl magnesium halide will go over here, means this methyl group will get connected with this carbon as shown here, and triple bond between carbon and nitrogen will get converted to double bond, because one bond goes along with this nitrogen and it takes this positive part of the alkyl magnesium halide, and we get this adduct or addition product, which upon acid hydrolysis gives acetaldehyde. So we can also get aldehyde from the reaction of nitriles with Grignard's reagent. Now another way to produce aldehyde by reducing nitriles is the Stephan's reduction. Very important from board examination point of view as well as from competitive examination point of view. And what is this Stephan's reduction? It simply consists of treatment of nitrile with anhydrous stannous chloride. Remember, anhydrous stannous chloride and HCl, that is a mixture of anhydrous stannous chloride and HCl, is reagent in case of Stephan's reduction, and ether is used as solvent or diethylene glycol. So this is a nitrile. First of all, out of the mixture of this HCl and anhydrous stannous chloride, a molecule of HCl reacts with this and form chlorosalt of this imine. Okay, now this upon reduction in presence of stannous chloride gives imine, and which upon hydrolysis finally gives this aldehyde as the product. Now this is stannous chloride. This is a good reducing agent. Obviously tin here is in +2 and it goes to higher oxidation state, that is +4, and by doing so it means it can reduce another substance. If it is getting oxidized from +2 to +4, then it means it reduces the other substance. So SnCl4 is a good oxidizing agent, whereas SnCl2 acts as a reducing agent. Okay. Now another method to prepare aldehydes and ketones is reduction of amides. So this is an amide RCONR2. This is substituted amide. So simple formula, you all know that RCONH2 is the simple formula of amide. Now amide can be reduced in presence of lithium aluminum hydride. Lithium aluminum hydride is a very good reducing agent. In fact, it is a versatile reducing agent. Means it has tendency to reduce a number of functional groups. So it gives aldehyde, and this is the secondary amine. Now there is every possibility that the final product in this sort of reaction may be the alcohol, because we have already talked about this, that this is a good reducing agent. It can reduce this aldehyde to alcohol as well. So in order to restrict the reaction at this intermediate stage, at this stage of aldehyde, which is our desired product, so we use some bulky reagents like lithium triethoxy aluminum hydride and sodium bis 2-methoxy aluminum hydride in place of this lithium aluminum hydride. Now these two bulky reagents restrict the process of reduction of amide at the intermediate stage, that is at the aldehydic stage. Okay. So for example, here you can see use of such bulky reagents. This is an amide. Use of this bulky reagent, that is lithium triethoxy aluminum hydride in presence of diethyl ether as solvent, it gives benzaldehyde. Likewise, this is another amide which upon reduction in presence of this sodium tri-2-methoxy ethoxy, whatever this bulky reagent is, aluminum hydride, okay, and it also gives C6H5CH2. Imidazole can also be reduced to aldehyde by LiAlOH4, that is by lithium aluminum hydride. So imidazole is a part of biological molecules. You will come to know in the later or in a chapter that is in your syllabus, in class 12 chemistry syllabus, that is biomolecule. Now another method to prepare aldehydes and ketones is the conversion of methyl group attached to benzene ring into formyl group by oxidation with chromium 6 oxide in presence of acetic anhydride in presence of a strong acid. Okay, so this is the method involving oxidation by this chromium 6 oxide or oxidation by chromyl chloride in CCl4 used as solvent, and this reaction is called as Etard reaction. It is another named reaction. So for example, this is the methyl group attached to benzene. Now this is paraxylene. Here we are having two methyl groups attached to benzene, and in presence of say chromyl chloride, this is chromyl chloride here used as a reagent, oxidizing reagent, CrO2Cl2, chromyl chloride. This oxidizes this CH3 to CHO group. Now here you are seeing that this chromyl chloride is oxidizing both CH3 groups to CHO group. Okay. Now if we wish to have a reduction of oxidation of only one methyl group, then we use certain selective oxidizing agent like ceric ammonium nitrate. Ceric ammonium nitrate oxidizes only one out of two CH3 attached to benzene ring. Okay, this is CAN, that is ceric ammonium nitrate, and in presence of an acid, it oxidizes only one CH3 to CHO without affecting the other. Likewise, selenium dioxide is another oxidizing agent which is used to oxidize benzylic carbon. See here, this is benzylic carbon. Okay, so selenium dioxide SeO2 has tendency to oxidize benzylic carbon to CO group. So as a result of this, we get a ketone, and here what is that ketone? This is benzophenone. Okay, so this was the sixth method. Now seventh method is another most important, and questions are often asked from this reaction, and most importantly from competitive examination point of view, and this is open or oxidation. This is simply the oxidation of secondary alcohol in presence of a reagent like aluminum tertiary, or simply we call it as TERT, aluminum tert butoxide, in presence of a hydrogen acceptor generally, and that hydrogen acceptor is also a ketone. To ketone means to form ketone as a product. Okay, here you are seeing that this is a secondary alcohol attached to two alkyl groups. One is this bulky and another is this methyl group. Okay, and in presence of this reagent aluminum tert butoxide, and hydrogen acceptor here is cyclohexanone in presence of benzene as solvent, and we get this ketone. Okay, so oxidation of secondary alcohol. This OH group has been oxidized to C double bond O or ketonic group. Now this reagent aluminum tert butoxide, this has also tendency to isomerize unconjugated CC double bond, carbon-carbon double bond, to conjugated system as shown here. For example, this is unconjugated alcohol, and in presence of aluminum tert butoxide and acetone as a solvent used here, we get this conjugated. Now here this double bond is now in conjugation with C double bond O group, and this sort of molecule is called alpha beta unsaturated ketone. Okay, so this is open or oxidation. You can take screenshot of it. Another well-known method is the oxidative cleavage of alkene, and you all might have done the classical way of oxidative cleavage of alkene, that is ozonolysis, in your previous class, that is class 11th, because that is there in the syllabus of 11th class chemistry. So oxidative cleavage of alkenes, where the classical method was the ozonolysis. Now since ozone is very unpleasant, so it has been replaced by a well-known reagent like Limex reagent. And what is this Limex reagent? A dilute. It is a dilute aqueous solution of sodium periodate. NaIO4 is sodium periodate with a catalytic quantity of potassium permanganate and of osmium tetroxide. Okay, so have a look directly at this reaction. Now if this was that classical, this is that classical way involving the ozonolysis, that is ozonolysis, and here we are getting this aldehydic product. Okay, now if we use this Limex reagent, and what type, that is NaIO4 plus, either we are having NaIO4 plus KMnO4 or NaIO4 plus osmium tetroxide. Both the reagents are called this Limex reagent. So if we use a mixture of KMnO4 and sodium periodate, since this KMnO4 is a powerful oxidizing agent, it takes this reaction beyond this aldehydic stage, and it carries out this complete oxidation to carboxylic group, and we get carboxylic acid. So in order to restrict the reaction at intermediate stage, we use mixture of sodium periodate and osmium tetroxide rather than using this mixture of KMnO4 and sodium periodate. So by using this mixture, we will get aldehyde and not acid, because here our motive is to, our main aim is to get aldehyde, because we are taking into consideration the preparation of aldehydes and ketones. Okay, so again, if you want to take screenshot of it, you can take, so that we move ahead. Okay, now see here another very well known and most important preparatory method, and this is very important from board examination point of view as well as from competitive examination point of view. This is oxidation of olefins to aldehydes and ketones. This is simply called Wacker process. It is a well-known industrial method for the preparation of aldehydes. Okay, this is also a method used for the preparation in laboratory, for the preparation of aldehydes and ketones in laboratory. This is also laboratory preparation method as well. So what happens in this? Alkene is used, and that is oxidized in presence of palladium chloride as catalyst. Okay, and further use of cupric chloride as co-catalyst, and ultimately the final product what we get is aldehyde or ketone as well, depending upon the nature of this initial this reactant or the starting material used. Okay, so this is the Wacker process. It is industrial as well as laboratory method of preparation. Have a look at the mechanism. Now in board class, in board exam, now as far as board examination is concerned, you have nothing to worry about the mechanism, but from competitive point of view, you must be knowing something about the mechanism, because anything can be asked out of this mechanism. So have a look at the mechanism of Wacker process, that is oxidation of alkene in presence of a catalyst as well as a co-catalyst. Okay, so this is the alkene. This is PdCl2, palladium chloride, used as a catalyst here. And first step is the action of this water molecule, and it attacks over here onto this. So in the first step of the mechanism of this Wacker process, we get this pi complex, where there is a sort of pi interaction between this unsaturated system, that is alkene, and palladium. And in the second step, another water molecule comes and attack onto the one of the carbon of alkene. Okay, so we are getting this OH part attached to this carbon, and ultimately one of the bonds, this has to go along with this, and this carbon then gets sigma bonded to this palladium as shown here. So this is a sigma complex. Okay, this is sigma complex, and sigma complex upon beta hydride elimination gives this sort of complex. Okay, now what happens, one hydrogen of this carbon attached to OH group, this goes along with this electron pair, that is as hydride, and this gets attached to palladium, and as a result of which this H2O or water molecule has to leave. Okay, as shown here. Now finally this hydride, that is this H along with this electron pair, goes from palladium and gets attached to another carbon of this alcoholic part. So in simple, we may say that this is the main, or this is the most important part of this mechanism, that is hydride shift, and this happens from, this can be asked, and this happens from one carbon, that is hydrogen, is transferred from one carbon to another carbon of alkene via palladium. So this is simply called as hydride shift or hydride transfer. H negative means hydride. Okay, and finally this upon hydrolysis gives our final product, that is acetaldehyde. Okay, now this carbon attached to two hydrogens now gets this third hydrogen and becomes CH3. This carbon is now shown here. This is the CH3, and this is the CH part attached to OH group. And finally hydrolysis, where oxygen of the water molecule abstracts this hydrogen of OH, and the bond between oxygen and hydrogen gets shifted to the position between this carbon and oxygen, and as a result of which we get aldehydic group. So we get this CH3CHO, and this PdCl2 leaves, and this is also hydrolyzed, and this is hydrolyzed to palladium 0 and 2 chloride ions. Okay, so during this process, PdCl2O, where Pd was in +2 oxidation state, that has oxidized alkene or ethene to acetaldehyde, but palladium itself has got reduced to palladium 0. Now since this palladium chloride, which is acting as a catalyst here in this Wacker process, this is a very expensive reagent. So to ensure economic process, a co-catalyst, that is cupric chloride, is used, which again oxidizes this palladium 0 to Pd2, which is then again used to carry out this oxidation of alkene, whereby we are getting more and more yield of aldehyde. And during that process, cupric chloride is itself reduced to copper 1. Okay, and copper 1 is also oxidized to copper 2, so that the whole process can be cyclized and more yield of aldehyde is taken. So how is that oxidized? Now Cu1 or copper 1 is oxidized simply in presence of atmospheric oxygen. So the ultimate oxidizing reagent here is atmospheric oxygen. Or you can take screenshot of this Wacker process. Very important, very important method to prepare aldehydes and ketones. Okay. For the time being, bye bye to all. Stay indoors, stay safe.